All right, there you have it. You see the beautiful Xbox popped up right there, looking magnificent. Nothing wrong with PS4. Trust me, I got one. I just don't play it that much. But that's not why we're here. So what you want to do is you want to click the settings over here. Once you hit the settings right here, I want you to look. Boom. What's this? It's telling you 1080p, 59.94. Not 60. Not 60. This is what's being pushed from your Elgato, from your Xbox to your Elgato to your computer. 59.94. So keep that in mind. That is what we're going to be setting our frame rate. That's what we're going to be setting it to. So also you want to keep in mind that I have HD 720p set for in here. Now I just set this just like this to show you. Look at this file size. It's saying that they recommend 31,000 bit rate with 14 gigs is how much is going to be taken per hour on your hard drive. So if you don't have a lot of space on your hard drive, you got to keep in mind, this is not going to play no games. This is going to eat away at your hard drive's memory. Whew. And this isn't even what they recommend for 1080p. Now I have mine settings to best. Depending on your computer, this is not a tutorial on Elgato settings. I probably will just do a video on the Elgato settings, but as you can see, if you're okay with good quality, you can go down. Boom, they're going to recommend 10 megabits, 10.9, and then they're going to have you taking up 5 gigs of space per hour. That's not bad. Now, if you want a little bit better quality, they're going to tell you 20 megabits per second with 9 gigs per hour, 9.3 if you want to get exact. But let's just say 720p is not your thing. You want it to be 1080. So you're going to go over here. See, my computer is not a beast. You know what I'm saying? Even my computer's like, whoa, I'm not so beastly. I'm going to click it anyway, just for the educational purposes of this video. And as you can see, what does it show you? 40 megabits. That's 40,000. Taking up 18.1 gigs per hour. Okay. And if you want to go down to good quality, it's going to suggest 14. So even Elgato has a certain minimum that it's going to require if you want to get good quality, better quality, and best quality. So if you want best quality, don't expect to get best quality with a lower bit rate. It's just not possible. Keep bit rate in mind is something like, okay, say I tell you to, we're going to go to a forest where every tree has its own colors, and the grass is certain colors and everything, and there's all sorts of millions upon millions of colors in this forest, but I only give you 4 crayons. I say, yeah, go make this look the same. Is that going to be possible? You're going to be able to make it look HD crispy with just those little 4 colors I gave you? No, you're not. So keep in mind, more bit rate is going to equal more quality, but more quality takes up more space on your hard drive, because that's just how it is. It's no way around it. Now you can compress files in your software that you edit, so therefore your uploaded file to YouTube or wherever is not going to be massive and super big, but this is what we have to work with as far as the bare minimum that Elgato themselves want you to use. This is their standard right here. So we're going to get out of here and we're going to take a look into the actual OBS software right now. All right, so now we're in OBS. You see I have mine set to a white background. That is for a specific reason. That is going to let my screen light up more. So if I am streaming for whatever reason from OBS, it's going to make my screen be white. And I usually make this part right here smaller, so I have even more of a white background for lighting my face. It's a little trick, and it lets my recording be a little bit more lit up, but that's besides the point. A lot of people be like, put it on dark, put it on dark, put it on what you want to put it on. You don't have to put it on dark. Now over here, we're going to go over to settings. And as you can see, let me move that out the way. As you can see, we're in general. I've never in my life changed any setting in here. You can change your theme and all that stuff. Now you can have automatically check for updates if you like on startup. Some people don't. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn that off because sometimes updates are not your friend. Sometimes updates can make your stuff quake like an earthquake and tear it up. I don't got time for that. So I'm turning mine off because I meant to turn it off before. I just never remembered. Now, As far as going down here, you see all these different settings. You can mess with this if you want to. Source alignment snapping. Say you can't get it exactly where you want, trying to move a source or whatever. You can turn this off and it'll let you move it directly where you want it. Because snapping sometimes doesn't let you put it exactly where you want it. It's just going to snap it to the next alignment line that it has on there. So that's just another thing you can do. Now we're not going to worry about the stream output because all you got to do is just use the stream key and the stream service that you're using. Update will actually let you log in and it'll just automatically do that for you. But now we're going to go to the streaming output section. Don't worry about these settings I have right now. Don't copy these first settings you see, because this is not even the actual settings I use. They're somewhat close, but I use Streamlabs OBS to stream because I like how the chat's going to be on the side. But that's also another thing that's going to be in the new updated OBS. It's going to let you have your chat where you choose to put it, which is awesome. Now, I usually stream at 6,000 or 7,500 bit rate because that's just what I like to stream as. But this is also depending on your upload speed. If you have an upload speed of barely 2 megabits, you're not going to be able to stream at 3.5 or whatever and be at 3,500 megabits per second. It's just not going to work. Mine, I think, is like around 22 uploads. So I could technically stream out at 10,000 bit rate if I'd like. I just choose not to do it. It's all up to you and what your internet actually allows as far as what you can upload and your speed of upload. And then custom buffer size, I don't mess with that. Keyframe interval, this is where I leave it at 2. Now, YouTube recommends 2, but they also say they support up to 4, but they don't recommend going past 4. Now, if you're streaming to YouTube and you're wondering why your quality doesn't look the way you want, I'm going to tell you right now, if you are not able to go well above 10,000 bit rate on your YouTube stream, your stream is going to look very pixelated, very blurry. I don't know why YouTube needs so much bit rate, but it does. I'm sorry. Now, if you don't have much bit rate to work with, I suggest using one of the other platforms maybe, because I've done a lot of tests on like Twitch and Mixer, and they pretty much look the exact same with the exact same bit rate. I was using 6,000, which is the max that you'll start off with on Twitch until you're an affiliate and all that stuff. Then you can go higher, and they looked exactly the same with the settings. But if I use those exact settings on YouTube, it was just unwatchable. I felt uncomfortable even streaming to my channel with that quality. Maybe one day in the future, I'll just decide to bump up my bit rate to a super amount and just have it super crisp and clear. But until then, I just don't feel the need. Now, I also do use my CPU for streaming. A lot of people say use your GPU, but me personally, when I watch my stream back or watch my stream and I'm using my GPU, I notice a lot of fuzziness that I'm seeing when I'm turning, when I'm running, when I'm moving and grooving, and I just don't like it. I don't see those problems with my CPU. So I just use my CPU for streaming and my GPU for recording. So I have my GPU set for medium. You may or may not be able to use that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When I do hit and pull up my task manager, yes, it says that, it's going up to like 60% sometimes. I've never seen it go up to 80 or 90%, so I don't really mind. I'm not gaming from my computer. I'm gaming from my console. So if you're gaming from your computer, you might not even be able to use medium fast or faster. You might have to use very fast. It all depends on how much you need for your particular computer and what's going to work best for you. Like, say you have a computer that's less powered than this and you do it to medium, it's going to probably look crisp, the scenes that are loaded, but it's going to be jerky, laggy. It's not going to be fluid and moving like it should. Now, if you go up too high, ultra fast, ultra fast will probably work on any computer, but that's going to cause your quality to go down. It's going to look fuzzy, pixelated. It's just going to be taking it, pushing it, taking it, pushing it, taking it, pushing it, pause. And so the lower you go, the higher the quality, but the lower you go, the more intensive it's going to be on your CPU. And it's not going to be too great if your CPU can't handle it. Now, profile, you see this is on main, but you need to keep it on high. Mine wasn't set to high because I don't even use this really to stream, but you could, but you want to use it on high. High is going to give you the best quality that you can get. I've looked at plenty of videos, plenty of all sorts of websites, and they all have shown me the proof that baseline and main literally have a worse quality. So I just leave it on high. and don't think about it. Tune, I leave mine set to none. I don't mess with any of the separated by space stuff down here. None of that. And as you can see, I'm using audio track 1. I didn't touch on that earlier. And I do not enforce stream service encoder, because whatever you set here, if you enforce that stream encoder, it's going to change these settings to whatever the heck they have their settings to. And keep in mind, their settings could change at any moment, and you won't even be aware of what it's changed to unless you pull this up while you're actually streaming. And I also don't use rescale output here, because if you do, this is going to use your CPU in this section. I use the video tab for my rescale output because that uses the GPU from what I've learned and what I've seen. And so that's what we have in the streaming section. Now, coming over to the recording tab, you see I'm also in the advanced tab right here. I have it set to type standard, and I have my actual recording path to wherever I want my video to be saved, so I can find it quick and easy. And I leave my recording format to MP4. Now, you can change it if you know you need another recording format, but MP4 is really what most websites suggest that you upload to anyway. And most of the time you're going to export your render from your software in MP4. So I just keep it on MP4. Works perfect for me, should work perfect for you. And down here, you can change your audio tracks if you have more than one. I don't, so I have mine set to 1. I don't have it all selected for other ones because I'm not even using any. And then down here, you see I actually use my GPU. If you do not have a GPU, you will not see the NVENC option. If you do, you will. If you have another graphics card, you'll see that. Now, you can choose to record with that. You can test it out and see if you like it, or you can use your actual CPU and just do it that way. Now, rescale output, I don't rescale in here either. Like I said, it's going to use your CPU. I'm using my GPU to record, so there's no reason for me to be using it in here as far as the rescale output. I don't mess with the custom muxer. I don't do that. Now down here, a lot of people will say CBR is not that great, but I don't believe that. They say VBR is better. Now, it's all what you choose to use. VBR is cool, don't get me wrong. It's going to let you choose a high bit rate, like a super big number, and it's going to let you choose the base number, and that base number is what your final export is going to actually be, but it's going to be pulling from the high amounts just to make it a little bit more crisp. And it works. I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't work, but me personally, I like the footage that I get when I'm recording at 60,000 bit rate. As you can see earlier, the one that they recommend for 1080p is 40,000. So you can technically just put this at 40,000 if you'd like, and just be doing the exact quality that you're doing from the game capture software. But I put mine on 60,000, and then in my software for editing, I just take the 60,000 bit rate as the max for variable bit rate, and then I take the 20,000 bit rate for my baseline. So that gives me a smaller, more compressed file without losing my quality, because I don't want to lose my quality just to save on file size, even though file size is pretty big if you do not do it. But if you do it, it's going to allow you to upload your videos faster. Now, keyframe interval, a lot of websites, like I've told you over here in streaming, a lot of websites recommend 2. A lot of websites can support 4 or more, but I leave mine on 2 because that's Twitch requires 2 for your streaming. I might as well use 2 for my recording. YouTube suggests it's 2, and they say they can go up to 4, but they don't recommend going past 4. I just leave mine set to 2. Now on your preset, you can change this to high quality if you want, or high performance and all that jazz. Now on preset, you can choose to use high quality, default, whatever you want. I've seen a lot of different videos, a lot of different posts online, and it doesn't really make much of a difference. So why not just use high quality? Me personally, I just leave it on default because it's not harming my video in any way, shape, or form. Profile, high always. Like I already said, you just don't want to put it on the other ones because it's not going to give you the best quality that you can get. You don't want to have no reason for it to be fuzzy or pixelated and all that stuff. Now, auto for the level is what I use. You can choose to like go online and there's calculators for how much your level should be based on your bit rate and all that stuff. I just leave mine on auto. I've never had problems with it. As far as use to pass encoding, I keep that selected. That's what I like. B-frames, I leave that at 2. Going over to audio, you see mine is set to 192 for here. I've never changed those because I don't use those tracks. Now 192, a lot of people go higher, but a lot of websites that you're uploading to don't even support the higher amount. They're going to probably compress it down anyway. This is what I decided was a good in between for all the places I might put a video. A replay buffer, I've never even went to this tab. This is the first time I'm even clicking into this tab, and you see I don't have enable replay buffer there. Now coming over to audio, you want to make sure that your sample rate is set to either whatever works best for you or whatever you're using. So the Elgato, it actually outputs the sound at 48 hertz. So you can put it at 48 hertz, but for some reason with my microphone, it was not working right. Like it was starting to like have little clicks and pops and statics and weird stuff that I've never had experience with this mic. And I have the Blue Yeti Pro. And so I changed it to 41 hertz and it was working perfectly fine. And even in my driver for my microphone, it was already on 41. I mean, not 41, but 44.1 hertz. So I just leave it there instead of doing 48. But if 48 is working for you, just use 48. I'm literally using 44 just because for some reason 48 just wasn't working for me. And then stereo is what I use for my channels, and desktop audio, I have that set for the actual desktop audio speakers that I use. If you want to, you can change it and choose the exact one that you want to be used. If you pick default, it's going to be choosing whatever the heck it thinks that's the default. And it might choose something you don't want to be chose. And that's the same with your mic. Choose your mic. Don't just leave it on default. Don't leave it on whatever you don't want. Put it on the one you want, so you will have less likely a chance that you got to go in here and do all these different settings. Now, I don't even have these other ones. I leave this like it is, and you can do push to talk if you like, but I don't bother with that because I will forget to push the button to talk or untalk, whatever the heck, so I don't mess with that. Over here in the video tab, you see that my base resolution is 1080p, output 1080p. This is where I would change it if I want to stream to 720p. I would change it here to 720p and leave this downscale filter on Lanczos if your computer can handle it. I'm using my graphics card, it can handle the Lanczos, so that's what I leave it on. If you're using your CPU, your computer may or may not be able to handle Lanczos because it's going to really use a little bit more of your CPU, and so you might not be able to do that. But this is going to give you the best quality as far as your video. And again, I've looked at a lot of different things online, a lot of different videos, comparisons, and all that stuff on these different filters, and Lanczos is the best. Now, right here, the output 59.94. Earlier we seen that the Elgato is outputting 59.94. That's what I want my video to output. Even my webcam is only 30, and it's probably actually 29, but I have it set to 30, and that's a whole other video. And over here, you can change your hotkeys if you'd like, but I don't have any hotkeys set up because when I'm recording a video, I don't need hotkeys. Me personally, I'll just stop and start recording on my own, and I use Streamlabs to stream, so that's where I have some hotkeys set up, but you can take the time to get this really tuned to what you want. Also, remember, if you do set these hotkeys, don't set them to something you might hit type in or whatever, because then you might start doing something in the software that you necessarily didn't want to be done right then. Now, over in the advanced tab, you see it says process priority normal. I'll leave it on normal, but let's say you're using your CPU and it's not acting right and you're using other programs or something. For one, if your computer's not strong enough, you want to only be using one program at a time. But if you're trying to open up a browser and it's acting a little weird, you could go up to above normal, so you can tell your CPU to focus more on this software. But I just leave mine on normal, and here you want to make everything the same. Elgato actually suggests that you leave this on partial because that's basically the default. They say default, but partial is default. And then 601, that is default. And I don't mess with none of that. Now down here, you can have all this audio monitoring. I don't monitor my audio, so I don't mess with any of this. Down here, you see automatically reconnect. That's if it ever disconnects for whatever reason. I've never had that happen, but it's going to take 10 seconds to do it. Then it's going to try for 20 different times. But after the 20th time, it's going to be like, oh no. But you can change this and put it what you want. Now over here, well, heck, that's it. That's the actual settings for your OBS, the best settings that you can put. But one more thing, we're going to actually show you a few more things in OBS real quick, and it has something to do with adding sources and the settings for your Xbox or your PS4. So what you want to do is you want to come down here. If you don't know how to add a source, you want to go boom. Now here you can do all of these different options. You can even put a browser source. I have a video on how to get your controller to pop up right there, and that's how you do it through browser source. So if you want to add a URL, say notifications for Twitch or whatever, or Mixer or YouTube, and you already have your link for it, you can add it by naming it, hitting OK, and then putting it in there for the URL. Now, if you go down here, you can also do display capture. You can display capture multiple different monitors. You don't have to do the one that you're on. You can use another one and select it based on what you want to be recording. You can go down to game capture and select an actual certain game window if you want to. You can add an image to your streams or your video. Say you want to have an overlay image, or you want to have, let's just say, a picture of yourself. Like say you're shy, you don't want to show your face on stream live and stuff. You could just put a picture of you on your stream by hitting image and then going that way. Or you can go to media source and add videos and stuff like that and choose a picture and stuff. And you can choose all of these different options. Say you have an overlay up there, but you don't have a text on top of it. It's just a plain overlay. You can add text to it. You can add text and put something like hello as the title. And then in here, you can name it. You can just put hello again. And then once you hit OK, you see that we have hello right there. So that's how you add text. You can resize this, you can move it. You can even download different fonts from certain websites and install them on your computer, and they'll pop up, should pop up. I've gotten mine to pop up and never had any issues. Should pop up and just working perfect. And then I'm just gonna remove that real quick. And then as far as your Xbox, you want to go to not game capture. Let me stop. You want to go to video capture device. And then in here, you see I already have multiple ones named Xbox. I've been doing so many different things. It's remembering the other ones, but it doesn't matter. You can name this Xbox or PS4 or whatever your game capture is. And then once you do that, the properties in it, you actually want to do this. So as you can see, your properties is game device here, up here. So never click the Elgato Game Capture HD. Don't do it. If you click this, it's going to open up the software in the background, and it's going to take the image out of that software and push it into OBS or push it into Streamlabs. That's going to be blurry, fuzzy, and just complete rubbish. You don't want to use that. So you want to make sure when you're using the Elgato, probably works the same with any other capture device, you want to make sure the Game Capture HDS video is what you're choosing. I said that wrong, HD60S. Or if you're using just the HD60 or the other ones, make sure you choose the one that says video number 1. You click that. So future me coming with a part that I actually did forget to mention. So what you want to also make sure you do is click configure video. Once you have it selected to be this or the one that you're supposed to be using, not the name of the software, you want to go to expand. You don't want it to be bypass. You don't want it to be shrink. You want it to be expand. And then over here, you don't have to mess with this. I'm not using my analog audio, and that's just a 3.5mm headphone jack on my Elgato. I don't change that. Now, what you want to do over here is you see all of these settings. I put that on default, and then once it's on default, I put this on the highest amount, and I put this saturation on the highest amount. This is gonna, as you can see down there, it changed the quality of the colors and all that stuff. If you leave it on default, it's gonna look very flat. Your screen might not even look right, but once you put the sharpness up, it's not gonna over sharpen or overly do it. I don't even know why they have it there, because I honestly feel like it should just automatically be set to this. And then saturation, I bump this all the way up. I don't mess with none of the brightness. I don't mess with the contrast or the hue. I let that just be a flat base amount. I just want my colors to be popping, vibrant, crisp for me and for the video that I'm putting out on my software. Now, I'm not really sure why it's like this, but as you can see, there's no way to resize this window. So the workaround that you can do for that is this right here. Firstly, I'm gonna have to minimize that. So this is gonna get a little loopy. So what I'm gonna have to do is go to display settings, and I'm gonna have to go to, I hate doing this. I'm gonna have to go to portrait. Now, when I'm in portrait, I'm gonna have it keep these settings. If I can even find portrait with my mouse. See, this is why I don't like doing this. Hold on, I gotta put my arm a certain way. Keep the settings, and then I'm gonna come back down here, and I'm going to minimize that, and then I'm gonna work my way over when I get it, and I'm gonna hit apply. then okay. Then it's gonna keep my settings. Then I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna find a way to work my way back over. And I'm going to put it back to landscape. Oh my goodness. I hate doing that so much. I promise you I do. But that is literally the only way I've ever had to see to do it. But if there's another way to do that, please let everybody know in the doggone descriptions so we can just be not having to do all that work that I just did. And then down here, a lot of people say leave this on any. Don't do that. Because even if you don't know what your video format is for your capture device, every device has a format. I promise you. This is the format for this particular HD60S. Elgato says put it on YUY2. And you see it says 60 because I've never changed these settings, but I'm going to put it on 59.94. And look at it. It pops up. It literally popped up right there. I'm literally giving you knowledge that work, trust me. And as it pops up, you see I can, my controller's not turned on. So if I turn my controller on, look at that. It even look crispy from here, but that's besides the point. And down here, you can leave this on default. They normally say leave it on default on, that's what Elgato says, but 601 is technically default because there's only 2 options. So that's what I put mine on, 601. As far as partial or full, do not put it on full. Like I said earlier, if you put it on full, this is for when you're trying to color grade your stuff and you want to fine tune it to your liking. But if you don't plan on doing no color grading and all that stuff, full is just going to make it look washed out and not look as vivid and crisp as it could. So on top of that, you have buffer. Buffer is never to be enabled. So you want to disable buffer. There's no reason to be buffering what's coming from your Elgato to your computer. You want that to just be going straight in to have the least amount of chances to be messed up or anything going on. Disable the buffer. I don't care what nobody tells you. I don't care what anybody has told you in that video. Disable it. Elgato themselves says to disable it. They know their product. Disable it. Now over here, you also see flip vertically. You can do some of that fancy stuff if you want to. I don't see why you would. That's good for if you have a monitor that's sideways or turned upside down or something. You can flip that mess and get it looking how you want, but we're not messing with that. Now capture audio only. You can use custom audio device. They actually recommend that you come down here to custom and you choose the one that's closest to the name of your actual capture device, which would be Game Capture HDS. So why do I keep saying Game Capture HDS? Game Capture HD60S. And then therefore your audio, if you're having issues with your audio syncing or being a little bit off, let's say on Mixer, you can actually have some people play music while they're playing the game through their Xbox. But if you have this not selected, it may be off sync based on your mic and based on the game pushing out the music. So this may or may not just be the problem that you need to be solving and put it on this. Now, for some reason, if you have any issues with your game chat not coming through there, you can change this to not use a particular device and you can just turn it off. But I've never had issues with my game chat coming through or whatever. And also, this is just an extra tip. If you don't play on Xbox, obviously it's not going to help you any, but let me turn my screen on. So over here in settings, on here, you can actually come down to your display and sound, and in your volume, you can go to headset and speakers. That's how you get your Xbox audio to come through your stream. It's going to be kind of terrible because you're not going to be able to turn down your people that's talking in your ear. It's just not going to work. So you're going to have to turn down your game volume and the game settings to get it to be like not too loud and not just blatantly killing your ears. But if you don't want them to come through your speakers and get picked up on your video recordings, you can just put it on headset only, and that's just going to let you hear the people you're talking to through your ears. So let's just say people are having like echoes in their mic or whatever, and you don't want that on your video recording or your stream. That's how you get rid of that. If you want to hear them, you put it on speakers and headset. If you don't want to hear them through your recording, you put it on just headset. But yeah, that's just a little quick tip in the middle of these quick tips. It's not so quick, honestly. This is a quite lengthy video, but this is the last video you're going to have to watch about these settings and stuff. I've explained it so thoroughly. I've explained each reason behind it, and that's all there is to it. And honestly, that's all the settings that you have in here. In the description down below, I'm actually going to have what Elgato suggests your format be if you're using other capture cards from them. Now, your particular capture card, if it's not from Elgato, you can just Google and look up and hopefully find what format you need. But like I said, for Elgato, I'm going to have the link down in the description of what they suggest your format be. But hey, if you watch this whole entire video you should have a great understanding of what OBS has to offer and the settings that you need to be changing or what you don't need to be changing and all that stuff. I promise you, I made this video way more shorter than it was going to be in the beginning because it was super long. This is still a long video, but when I tell you, it took a lot of time to come to these conclusions, and I want you to jump past all the issues I ever had and just get to the point where you're making great content that you enjoy, your streams look nice and all that stuff. I just want you to jump past that. I don't want you to go through all the mess that I went through, okay? Period, point blank. So hopefully this video helped you out. You can slam that like button, subscribe to the channel if you like, and if you hate the video, if you don't like me, you can give this video a thumbs down too. That works as well. And also don't forget, share this video with somebody you know that's using OBS or just streams or records videos, period, because they might not even use OBS, but once they see that these steps and stuff will actually work out, they might want to switch, or they might want to improve or change some settings that they didn't even know they needed to change. So just remember, sharing is caring. Share the video if you know somebody that needs some help. But anyway, till next time, it is your boy, YXO the man, and I'm out. Hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful night whenever you're watching this, and continue to record videos, have fun, enjoy these games, and hopefully all is well. Peace.